So for the freedom fight, if there's a praise to the world, then I will feel alright. I'm feeling good, don't feel good, I feel sick. I wanna down my face, cause I love to do it. I'm the one to stop the flow from flowing. No one to feel master of disaster when the sound is gone. Sing a little shout out, triple dead and mom. Yeah, bringing me into this world.
Dreamy dreams where the high school is getting started. It's a museum and we're all locked up in it. After let's just see what tomorrow.
Lots of places where we can pick up allies, and I don't think we realize that that's what we're doing, but that's exactly what we're doing.
And what they do is they tell you what they think you're good at or what you should do.
Sweet Caroline, sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe there never was. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. Sweet Caroline, I believe it never goes. Sweet Caroline, the time never seems so good.
Once he returns to this cottage, he is confined, almost a prisoner, to the first floor of this cottage and this porch. He never saw the second floor. He was just too sick to go up and down the stairs. When he would come out here and sit on the porch, which he did quite often to work on his memoirs, he'd sit right where that chair is. Now, his actual chair is inside, and I will point that out to you. But he was pretty much confined to this porch and the inside for the next 5.5 weeks as he continued to work and write his memoirs. I'll tell you a story you won't see in any history books, and that's about a gentleman named Sam Willett. Sam Willett was a local person who had served in the Union Army and had served underground. And he very much admired General Grant. He took it upon himself to come up here and be a bodyguard for General Grant. Pitched his tent in the back field and stood right at the bottom of the stairs trying to keep the people away from Grant. And he was a failure. The people just kept walking by him. And he couldn't figure out why. There are not that many people that would be that disrespectful that would do that. He turned around and he looked, and General Grant is up here waving the people up. He's flabbergasted. He goes to the oldest son, Fred, who's a colonel and the spokesman for the family, and he says to him, Colonel Grant, trying to keep these people away from your father while he's working on his book. I know he's sick and he wants to finish it, but he keeps waving him on the porch. What am I to do? Can you talk to him? Fred did take his father aside and he said, yeah, well, what's going on? Sorry, your father. Mr. Grant can't talk. He can only write at this point. He writes a little notepad, and he writes a note to his son to give to Sam, and it says, I shall not be exclusive. let them come. These people were coming to see him. He was not going to deny them. And he allowed several hundred interruptions on the book over the next few weeks. Not that anybody ever really thought he did anyway.
Because he was left without any money.
Right, exactly. But
was the guy living in high style in Montreal, or?
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, I really don't know. But he was ended up sentenced to 10 years in Sing Sing prison.
That's all?
Yeah. You know, he started about 6.5 of it. And his handwriting was getting worse as it went along. This is the Grant family that came up here. Of course, Ullysses with the top hat. His wife Julia sitting next to him. Their daughter Ellen, or Nellie as she was called, she was married in the White House. Very first person ever married in the White House. And her husband is still in England, in England, where they were living. She came home to be with the family during the illness. This is the eldest son, Fred. He is a colonel at this time, a graduate of West Point. He will become a general during the Spanish-American War. Noticeably after his death, he could not lay down because of the cancer and the tumor. He would sleep and sit in one, put his feet up on the other. Now, he didn't sleep much, and he used to work in here during the day too if he didn't feel up to going outside. So they gave him a board to put across the arm of the chair, and he would work on his memoirs here. At night, when he would allow himself to be medicated, water from this jar with cocaine was used to swab his throat. And that is the bottle of water from 1885. That has never been changed. When he returned from his 2-year vacation with his wife, he was up to 185 pounds. He put on 40 pounds the 2 years they were away. When he got here in June, he was down to like 110 pounds. When he died 5 weeks later, he was down to less than 95 pounds. Following his death, his son Fred went through the pockets of the bathrobe and found his wedding ring. It would fall off his hand. He lost so much weight he couldn't keep it on. Fred took it out of the bathrobe and returned it to his finger. You'll see an artist drawing in the other room. Anyway, 3 days before Grant's death on July 20th, Fred tells him Mark Twain needs volume 2 of his memoirs. He's got volume 1. He needs to get the second one published. To get it out. They have sold by subscription several thousand copies. By hiring Union soldiers, former Union soldiers, dressing them up in their old uniforms, tattered and torn and dirty and bloody, and sent them door to door selling subscriptions. Who's going to refuse a soldier selling his commanding officer's memoirs when they know that commanding officer is in upstate New York in the Adirondacks dying of cancer? And he was such a well-loved man that several thousand copies were pre-sold before Mark Twain ever knew whether he'd ever get a second volume to sell. That's it. July 23rd, 1885, at 8:08 a.m., Dr. John Hamilton Douglas announces to the family that Ullysses S. Grant, our 18th president, has died. Shortly thereafter, Western Union office up at the hotel sends out a telegraph to the world that Grant has died. We know the exact time of his death because his son Fred stopped that clock on that mantle at 8:08 a.m. on July 23rd. It has sat there on that mantle for 124 years plus a little over a month and has not ticked 1 second. The flowers that you see are from 1885. They were dipped in wax to preserve them before they were placed on those memorials. You know, so if anybody ever offers you a copy and says, U.S. Grant signed these, they weren't published yet.
Oh, of course.
Now, his signature is in all the first edition. Because while he was up here, what they used to do back then is they used to have a dedication card, almost like an index card type of thing. And he hand wrote that up here. And he wrote it and dedicated the book to all the soldiers and sailors in the war. And he signed it on Ullysses S. Grant.
Only 63, yeah.
Yeah.
All those cigars, huh?
Only 20 a day. Oh my God. Mark Twain smoked almost 40 a day. And he didn't die of cancer.